Okay, so this is a video on forming and solving quadratic equations. So this is for my additional maths class, and I'm going to go through 3 past paper questions that I have given you, okay? You're going to need a lot of working out space for this because these are 7 some 10-mark questions, okay? So the first one, a square and a rectangle are such that the side of the square, so if I just draw a square, and this is equal to the side length of the shorter side of the, that's not a rectangle, shorter side of the rectangle. So if this side was x, for example, this side would also be the value for x. The sum of the areas of the square and the rectangle is 198 centimeters squared, and the sum of the perimeters is 80 centimeters squared. We've got to calculate the dimensions of the rectangle. So first of all, just form those equations. So they've said that the sum of the areas of the square and the rectangle is 198. So we know that the area of a square is one side times the other. So I would do x times x, so that's x squared. And I would add the area of the rectangle. So I don't know this bottom, I know this one side is x, but I don't know this other length. Now, you don't know how many x's it is, so I'm going to call it a different letter. I'm going to call it y. So I know this side, x times y, should give me my area. And those will then equal 198, as they've said in your question. Next bit they've said is that the sum of the perimeters is 80 centimeters squared. So the perimeter of the square would be x, 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 and x, so 4 lots of x. And the area of our rectangle would be 2 lots of x's and 2 lots of y. And that equals 80 centimeters. Now I can simplify this, so I can 4x plus 2x, that's 6x, plus 2y equals 80 centimeters. So I've got 2 equations now. So to work out one of my values, you've got to work out the value of x and the value of y. You want to rearrange one of them to make either x equals or y equals. So I'm going to choose this bottom one just because it's closer and I can work out my next ones. So at the moment, with this whole equation, I'm just going to divide it all by 2 just to get my numbers smaller, because I don't like working with big numbers. You don't have to, but it will be easier. And now, see, I've got 1y. If I just chuck my 3x on the other side, so if I take away 3x from both sides, I'm left, I'm just going to get rid of my centimetres for a minute. I'd be left with my value of y. So if I know, I'm using too many highlighters now. If I know that y equals 40, take away 3x, well, that didn't quite work how I wanted to. So if I know y equals that, I can plug it back into this top equation. So if I substitute in y equals 40 minus 3x into x squared plus x times y is 198, then I can simplify it and hopefully get some answers for x. So in that top equation, I've got x squared plus x times y. Now instead of y, I've got 40 minus 3x, and that still equals 198. I'm going to leave centimetres off for a minute. So I'm just going to expand that bracket, so x squared stays the same, plus x times 40, that's 40x, and x times minus 3x is minus 3x squared, and that still equals 198. So I can simplify. I've got 1x squared, take away 3x squared, that's minus 2x squared, plus 40x equals 198. Now this is starting to look like a quadratic equation. I don't want a negative in my first x squared, so I'm going to take everything over to the other side. So I'm joining it on 198. So I would be left with 2x squared. I would take away my 40x because it's joining this positive 198. This now equals 0. So again, just to make my life a little bit easier, I am going to divide them all by 2. I'm just going to half all my numbers because then I can straight away put it into double brackets. So if I straight away half them all, that's 2 halved is 120, and half of 198 is 99. So now you need to put it into double brackets. So I have done a video on factorising into double brackets. This is a little bit easier because I've got now no number in front of my first coefficient. So I want 2 pairs of numbers that multiply to make 99, and then add up to make minus 20. So just take a minute and think of your factors of 99. So 199, 3 and 33, etc. and think about which ones make minus 20. So it's going to be minus 9 and minus 11. See how we need positive 99? When you do minus 9 times minus 11, that makes positive 99. And if we take them both away, it is minus 20. So my brackets are both x equals 9. My brackets is x minus 9, sorry, and x minus 11. Therefore, x equals 9 or x equals 11, because don't forget this equals 0. So what does x have to be to make 0? So we actually have two solutions. So first of all, when x equals 9, you now want to find out y. Don't forget we've got this green highlighted equation here to find out y. So if y equals 40 minus 3x, and I know x is either 9 or 11, I'm just going to plug that in. So I'm going to do 40, take away 3 lots of 9, or it could be 40, take away 3 lots of 11. So our answers are either 13 or 7. You can just make sure they work if you want to by finding out, drawing your square and rectangle again and finding out the area, but you can just leave it like that. I think in the mark scheme they accepted either or, so even if you just wrote 1 of 9 and 13 or 11 and 7, you would have got it correct. Okay, so there's a lot of work for 7 marks. So all we did was form our equations, rearranged one, put it into the other one. We've got a quadratic, we solved our quadratic, and then we found out our other y. I'm going to do question 2. So this one is a 9-mark question. So a rectangle A has side length x plus 1 and y plus 3. So if you wanted to draw the rectangle, that is completely up to you. So we've got this side is x plus 1 and this side is y plus 3. The perimeter of that is 62. So this is A. We've got another rectangle. This is rectangle B. That side length is x plus 9 and this side length is 2x plus y, and the area is 703 centimeters. So I'm gonna start with the area, I think. So we'll do area of B first. You should know how to do the area of a rectangle. You just do one side times the other. So I need to do 2x plus y times x plus 9. Put them both into the brackets as they're already in the question. And this is just expanding brackets, so using FOIL. So I'm going to do my first, so 2x times x is 2x squared. Then I'm going to do my last ones, 2x times 9 is 18x. I'm going to do my inner one, so x times y, that's just xy. And y times 9 is 9y. So this is a big equation so far. I can't half all my numbers because I haven't got any number here. So I'm just going to leave it like so. I'm now going to do my perimeter. So perimeter of A. So you need to know that perimeter is going to be all your sides added up. So I want 2 lots of this, add 2 lots of this. So I want 2 lots of x plus 1 plus 2 lots of y plus 3. And that equals, oh yes, the top one also equals 703, doesn't it? So let's expand it. So we've got 2x plus 2, add 2y plus 6, and this equals 62. Just going to simplify that a little. So we've still got our 2x, still got our 2y, this is plus 8, and that equals 62. Going to simplify it again just by taking over my 8, so taking away 8 from both sides. So I'll have 2x plus 2y equals 54. And you can tell what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just half all my numbers. So I'm going to half my 2, that's 1, half my 2 again, that's 1, half my 54, that's 27. So I've got 2 equations. So I've got this top one and this bottom one. Which one looks nicer? The bottom one. So I'm going to use that to work out my y. I'm not going to choose x because I've got x squared going on here and I've got three of them. So I'm going to make my y equal 27 minus x. So all I've done is this equation, I've taken away x from both sides. I've just taken the x and chucked it on the other side. Okay, so now I've got y equal 27 take away x. I'm going to substitute that into this top one. So instead of 2x squared plus 18x plus xy plus 9y, I'm going to put wherever I've got y as 27 minus x. So I've still got 2x squared, still got 18x, but instead of xy, I've got x times all of this new one. So 27 take away x. This is going to be a long one. Plus 9 lots of y, so 9 lots of 27 minus x, and that still equals 703. So this stays the same. My 18x also stays the same. Now expand, so x times 27, that's 27x. X times x, but there's a minus in front, so you're going to have to minus x squared. And now I need to expand this one, so 9 lots of 27 is 243. Take away 9 lots of x is 9x, and that still equals 703. Right, you're going to want to simplify. So think of all your x squareds. You've got 2x squared minus 1x squared. That's just x squared. Now we've got, let me use a different colour so I don't get confused. You've got 18x plus 27x, is there another x? Minus 9x. So that should make 36x, and I've still got 243. And this equals 703. So it looks like a quadratic now, so I'm just going to take my 703 over to our other side. So I'm going to take away 703. So I've got x squared plus 36x minus 460, and this equals 0. So I've got a quadratic. I want to put it into double brackets now to find out my value of x. You can use the quadratic formula if you want to, so don't forget a is 1, b is 36, and c will be minus 460, but this does simplify it quickly into double brackets. So you've got to think of two pairs of numbers that multiply to make minus 460 and that add together to make 36. So those two numbers are 46 and 10, because positive 46 take away 10 is 36, and 46 times 10 is 460. So again, this still equals 0. So what does this first x have to be to make 0? That would have to be minus 46, or this one, x would have to be 10. Now we're working with lengths. You can't have a negative length, so it's not minus 46. So you don't need that one. So we've got our answer of x. Oh, I just tried to change that colour, but it didn't work. So we've got x equals 10. To find out y, you're just going to put it back into the equation. So y equals 27 minus x. So therefore y equals 27 minus 10, which is 17. So we've got x is 10 and y is 17. So again, exactly the same as question 1. I formed my equation, I rearranged one, I put it into the other one, and I solved it. So forming and solving equations is all about forming them first, rearranging one to put into the other, and then solve it. Okay, I'm going to do one more, and I'm going to let you do the rest by yourself then. Okay, we've got a right angle triangle ABC has an area of 1,350. The hypotenuse of the right angle triangle AC is 75 and the perimeter is 180. Given that AB equals x and BC equals y, calculate the lengths of the side AB and BC of the right angled triangle. So if you want to quickly draw it, we've got a right angled triangle. They've said the hypotenuse is 75, and if this is AC, this has to be B. That doesn't look like a B, that's a D. So we've got AB equals x, so this side is x, and BC is y, so that side is y. To find out the area of your triangle, which they've given you, but an area is a half your base, so they've got y in this case, times your height, in this case is x, so half base times height, and the area they said is 1350. We can simplify it if you want to, or you can just leave it like that, it's up to you. I'm going to simplify it by just dividing by a half. So I've got xy equals 2,700, so I've just doubled it basically. Dividing by half is just doubling it. And they've said that the perimeter, so if I was to do 75 plus x plus y, I would get the hypotenuse is that perimeter is 180. Okay, so again, if I just rearrange, I take away my 75, so I've got x plus y equals 105. So I've got two equations. I've got xy equals 2,700, and I've got x plus y is 105. You could use a trial and error method here, but easier method. So I'm going to use this one to rearrange, and then I'm going to input it into this top one. So in this case, I've got y equals 105, take away x. So I've just taken my x over to the side, I've taken away x from both sides. So I'm going to input this now, substitute it into this top one. So instead of xy, I've got x times 105, take away x, equals 2,700. If I expand, I've got x times 105, 105x, x times minus x, that's minus x squared, and that still equals 2,700. Again, it's almost like a quadratic. I just want to rearrange it because this is a negative. If I bring it over to the other side, it becomes a positive. So I'd have x squared. I also want to bring over the 105. Take away 105x is positive 2500 because it's a positive number. That equals 0. So again, you could use the quadratic formula, but it shouldn't take you that long to work out two numbers, the multiply to make 2,700 positive, and the add up to make minus 105. Oh, it might take you a while actually. The answers are minus 60 and minus 45, but again, you could have used the quadratic formula. So what does x have to be to make 0? X would have to be 60, or x would have to be 45. Okay, so now we need to work out our y. So if x plus y is 105, in this case, what would you add to 60 to get 105? 45. What would you add to 45 to get 105? 60. So your answers are 45 and 60 basically. You can kind of see, because it's a right angle triangle, they're giving you each side. So on your right angle triangle, one would be 75, this would be 60, this would be 45. And you could use Pythagoras to check that if you wanted to. Okay, but we did exactly the same thing. We formed the equation, we rearranged one, we inputted it into the other one, and we solved. Okay,